Alright guys, welcome to VALORANT News. Major roster developments last night with Zander hinting about a possibility of a Sentinels future, but also what about Aspas? The latest rumours emerging are that yes, Aspas will leave Leviathan after a disagreement with their management this most recent season, but the region he is targeting to join is not another Americas team, but apparently the Pacific region Aspas is looking to go over to. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always, I greatly appreciate it. First of all, Esports Awards. A number of nominations here from the VALORANT world. Yinsu as host of the year, and we had also Kankang and Tens. This is pretty interesting, guys. Just quickly, real quick, Achilles also nominated Play-by-Play Caster of the Year because, you know, just wanted to mention this before we get into somewhat a little bit more juicy, really. So congratulations to these guys, in addition to Kankang and Tens. So Esports PC Player of the Year. Kankang for sure would be up there in the conversation to win it. Of course, World Championship winner in VALORANT, MVP of the World Championship itself. Tens being up here is kind of nice, right? It's nice to see Tens here, of course, you know, winning Masters Madrid earlier in the season, retiring at the end of the year. I think, you know, Tens deserve to at least be nominated for something. Of course, people will argue, and understandably, like, you know, there could have been other players over Tens. Was Tens even the best player on his team? You know, you can argue it, obviously. And, like, Kankang, of the two, if anyone's actually going to win it, it's probably going to be Kankang. But, you know, who knows? I mean, obviously, Tens with his impact and everything that he's done and now stepping away, it's his last chance to be nominated, I suppose. So that was pretty nice. And another remarkable thing for me yesterday was that under Content Creator of the Year, we actually got nominated. So alongside all these other massive names, including Tarek and Kaide, and obviously from the VALORANT scene, and many others like Ebai, of course, just massive streamers, Gowles, Kadrel, like all of these guys, and even it's Timmy, for example, among you know, all sorts of talented individuals. And yeah, we managed to get in here. And honestly, I can't thank you guys enough for watching and supporting the content, because like I've made this type of content in the Call of Duty esports space for many a year, transitioning over to make it happen in VALORANT over the last couple of years. And I think without this channel and the support you guys have shown it, there was no way that would have been nominated here. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Obviously, it's been one of my like ambitions for the last few years to get a nomination for this award. So I really appreciate everyone that's helped to make this happen, whether you've just watched or liked or subscribed or whatever, shared with a friend. Appreciate everything. And you can vote if you'd like to, you know, no obligation to, of course, but this is like all the things you guys can go and vote for the VALORANT people and stuff. And here's your boy. This is esportsawards.com/vote. You guys can find the link in the description. I'll probably plonk it down there, and that will have a part to play. You know, Tarek probably should and probably will win this award, but we'll see. I mean, nonetheless, really exciting. Let's talk about Rostermania stuff. M80 have made it official now after we've seen players announcing free agency over the last few days. They're parting ways with their VALORANT team, and it's GG. Now, this is, I would say, you've got to see the problem here if you're Riot Games on exactly the way things currently are, because yes, M80, they put serious money in. They sign these guys for decent salaries, paying them, you know, as much as probably some of the VCT Americas teams in that league, and that's not sustainable unless you win. They didn't win, and therefore it's chalked. Now, M80 is an organization, they've still got a Counter-Strike team doing pretty well, but they have, for now at least, left VALORANT. Whether they will ever return is an interesting question, and I think, like, Riot have to consider what's happening here, right? Because Riot Games say, oh, well, you know, Tier 2 isn't intended to be sustainable, right? And I get that on some level. You want it to be about the players, not about the organizations. But nonetheless, the organizations allow the players to compete in that league. And if there were no orgs supporting it, then a number of players not being able to be salaried would not even play competitive VALORANT and would not be able to grind through in the way that they have done. So the biggest organization that's still really supporting, at least in terms of success, and getting close to qualifying for Ascension and putting the money in, M80, has now just, you know, left VALORANT entirely, which is, you know, something that they've got to think about, I would say anyway, in terms of the way that they structure that Tier 2. But let's talk about a number of roster stuff. FPX, they're looking for new players. 18 are over, must be Radiant on the Chinese APAC server. So, you know, maybe artists, time to reapply. That would be quite the timeline. But I've got to dive into a number of things here, because all sorts of rumors. Of course, with Rocket Bullet's spreadsheets no longer existing, you know, we have to go back to the days where we look individually at certain things. And, yeah, so rumors that Carmine Corp Sagetsu could be a rumor. That's pretty interesting. 90% according to RomaVal that Sugetsu is going to end up on KC. They, of course, are fielding a rather different team to last season, but they're trying to replicate the success they had at the early part of last season. Let's talk Sentinels, though, because they still need a team. They play the Red Bull Homeground tournament. They clearly have an idea what their roster is going to be for next season. They cannot say anything. They cannot confirm those players until the 7th of October. But the Homeground is coming up sooner than that. So they need a roster. They need to field a roster. And the latest rumor is that apparently Curry might be the man to come into the roster. Now, look, it's funny with Curry, isn't it? Because let's say he comes in here and he does a phenomenal job, as he did in the off-season last year. Steps in, absolutely kills it. Yes, he is, I would say, clearly stepping in as a sixth-man replacement, right? You would theorize. But to be fair, maybe it's not impossible to suggest that Curry could stay around as a full-time player if he does an incredibly good job. But yeah, it seems like Curry is screwing for the team for the Homegrounds tournament. You would imagine that's not going to last forever and he'll stay as being an excellent sixth man, but I guess right now you cannot rule anything out in the way that this roster period has gone. And this is what Zander says. I mean, you know, someone is tweeting this out every single year, red or red, and we always kind of speculate, oh, who's it going to be? Which red team is he talking about? Obviously, the implication here would potentially be Sentinels or 100T. That's what you'd be thinking about. And, you know, whether Zander has offers from both teams, if that's even what he's getting at, is a question. More than likely, he's just kind of baiting. But of all the players on that M80 lineup, Zander is the most likely, I would say, to get a good opportunity and a spot in Tier 1. Obviously on Sentinels, given his history with Zeltis and others, that might well make a fair bit of sense. But obviously, Curry might be stepping in for the near term, doing a pretty damn good job before it's possible to do anything else here. And even Asana says, please pick red. So, you know, there's been some discussion on this, hasn't there? Because Bang was linked to Sentinels. Asana and the 100 Thieves roster potentially making a change or potentially not. Maybe Zander's an option, right? So, yeah, there's still several things in the Americas that are seriously in flux. One of those being, will Durka join? Of course, Durka, this is pretty funny. He says that, you know, there's a bug where you alt-tab your PC freezes. Right, please fix it. And Som's like, don't have that problem in NA. And of course, Som was one of the individuals not that long ago, part of this NRG roster, who was making points about, you know, potentially bringing Durka in, right? We saw FNS not completely deny getting Durka into at least some trials over the last couple of days, and there is a rumour that maybe it's going to be Som, FNS, Verno, Ethan, +1. That +1 could be Demon 1, but latest rumours are pointing towards somebody else. Could potentially be Durka if they've got the money to do it. So, you know, Durka's continually in the replies as well. We'll see if that goes anywhere, of course. But these are the other two big pieces of the day. Jorgamo to G2 seemingly is done. They made the change for Net. They brought in Icy. They've made the change for Icy. They're bringing Jorgamo into the lineup. There were rumours that they were looking at Oxy as well, trying to steal him off Cloud9. That now seems unlikely. But this is definitely a very solid move if they can actually pull this off, right? World Championship winner on Evil Geniuses, a player that is highly rated by fans, but more highly rated by the players themselves. And the idea that you can bring in Jorgamo and what he's been able to achieve over the last couple of seasons and his success into a G2 roster, which were also very good this most recent season. They just kind of got better and better. At the end of the year, you know, I wasn't sure they were as good as they appeared, and we kind of saw some glimpses of that at the World Championship. But nonetheless, the idea of Valin, Trent, Jonah P, Leaf and those guys alongside Jorgamo as their fifth man, that is a pretty damn disgusting team on paper, and supposedly that's going to be confirmed in the relatively near future. But the other big story is what's happening with Aspas, because latest rumour is, according to Bruno Popolari, that out of basically his disagreements with Aspas and the situation over at Leviathan, which has maybe been building now for some months, he is no longer going to be on Lev. Yes, he has a contract until 2025 has ended, but that is not going to be respected. They are going to come to some sort of other arrangement, right? So apparently he's currently negotiating with a number of organizations for someone to match his buyout and get him into their team for the new season. So this is a massive loss, of course, for Lev. But yeah, there's been rumors now behind the scenes for a good few days that Aspas is not going to be there any longer. The question then is, where does he go? Because I've said over the last few days, if Aspas is available, if you're Sen, you've got to think about it. If you're any other team in the Americas, you've got to think about about it. But the rumor was yesterday that apparently the Asian region, that is where Aspas desires to not only live, but also to compete. So if an America's team comes along with like a mega offer that they want to get through, then sure, that's probably what's going to happen. But Aspas is mainly considering and talking to organizations based out in the Pacific. And that's a very interesting deal, isn't it? Because if Aspas wants to live and work out there, of course, there's the whole language thing, there's the whole cultural thing, but also which organizations does it make sense for him to join? Is it possible that a team like Paper Rex could have a look at him? Bleed Esports, of course, potentially still have some money to spend, but, you know, that would be fascinating, wouldn't it, if they sign Yay one year and then they bring Aspas in the next year, Bleed Esports. Of course, DRX seems pretty unlikely to me, but I guess that's not completely impossible. You know, and also we know that Aspas is, you know, he likes his anime, right? Pretty sure. So a Japanese team, maybe like a Zeta could be interesting. But again, I mean, you know, is Aspas going to learn Japanese? How good is Japanese? I don't know. These are some very interesting questions. So that's a pretty big development, right? The idea that Aspas has gone from Lev, I think we've kind of known that. But the idea that Aspas wants to move to the Pacific, that really does raise some questions. And to be fair, given that something is over there on that Paper X team, I feel like there is a plausible option over there for them to try and make something work. But and also Paper X might need just something a little bit extra if they want to get over the line and start winning championships, because they've come so close and they've failed several times over the last couple of years. But very much interested in your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.